It looks to me like we ought to start enforcing the law that's on the books, because when almost 80,000 people fail a background check and 44 people are prosecuted, what kind of deterrent is that? I mean, the law obviously is not seeing that as important. If it's such an important issue, why aren't we prosecuting people who fail a background check? And there are 15 questions there. They're not hard to understand if you're filling out the form. So I'm a bit frustrated that we say one thing, how important it is, but in the real world, we absolutely do nothing to enforce the laws on the books. Now, let's talk...
just for the record, from my point of view, Senator, the purpose of the background check... How many cases
have you made? How many cases...
it doesn't matter. It's a paper thing.
Well,
I want to stop 76... I want to finish the answer.
Well, no,
I want to stop 76,000 people from buying guns illegally. That's what a background check does. If you think we're going to do paperwork prosecutions, you're wrong.
How many...
All right.
How many cases...
Senator, if you would withhold just for a moment.
Yeah.
Please.
That's fine.
No expressions one way or another, and let's keep this civil. Senator Graham and I just got recognized for civility, so I know he'll keep it civil.
But being civil and being firm in your convictions are not inconsistent, are they? I admire what you do. I think every cop deserves everything that comes their way and then some, because it's a dangerous job. Has your budget gone down in the last year?
It has been level funded by the city at great expense with great difficulty.
In the next decade, do you expect more or less money given the budget situation?
Probably less.
Yeah, I think that's just a reality. So I want Americans to know that what this police chief is facing, almost every other police chief is facing, less money, so you may have to defend yourself. But back to the question, how many cases have you made for somebody violating a background check?
We don't make those cases, Senator.
All right.
We have priorities. We make gun cases. We make 2,000 gun cases a year, Senator. That's our priority. We're not in a paper chase.
How many cases?
We're trying to prevent the wrong people buying guns. Well, that's why we do background checks. If you think I'm going to do a paper chase, then you think I'm going to misuse my resources.
I'm just trying to ask you a question about how the law works today. He's made no cases. You've made no cases because you say it's really not within your bailiwick. How many cases have you had turned over from the U.S. attorney to prosecute at the state level that you know of?
We all know the answer to these questions, Senators. They're self-answering. We don't chase paper. We chase armed criminals.
Well, I guess the point is, if we don't want the wrong people to own guns, which we all agree, then the one way to do that is to take the system that's supposed to distinguish between the person who should and shouldn't and enforce it. I own an AR-15. I passed the background check. Isn't it really about who has the gun, sometimes more than the gun itself? And I guess the point I'm trying to make, if there are 4 million AR-15s in this country owned by people like me, I think the argument would be that it is in common use. And you may not understand why I want to own an AR-15, and I may not understand what movies you want to watch, but we're talking about trying to solve a problem that has as its central core that the people who are committing these crimes should never have any gun or one bullet. That's what we all agree on. And the best way to prevent crazy people, mentally unstable people from getting a weapon is to identify them somehow before they murder somebody to steal it or they try to buy one. Now, I'll end on this note. In South Carolina, I've got parents from Ashley Hall here, that a lady went into Ashley Hall with a .22 automatic pistol, semi-automatic pistol, and thank God the gun didn't function, who passed a background check at the federal level, who was adjudicated not guilty by reason of insanity of trying to kill the President of the United States. So before I am told by my colleagues on the other side and the two witnesses we need to change our laws, I would argue that the law is fundamentally broken when almost no one gets prosecuted. And if you can pass a background check, having been adjudicated mentally insane by a federal court, I think the place we should start is fixing the laws we have rather than expanding them and creating a false sense of security. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Graham. Senator Whitehouse.